your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here. We always like to help you win in any marketplace, making you more street smart on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We have a great lineup for you today on the program. We're going to be kicking off here in just a moment with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group, talking about his new book that he's releasing, as well as tax-free retirement, way to reduce and legally pay the least amount in taxes. We're going to talk with Mark Haye about that. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, also longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, coming up as well. And we do have another guest that's going to be talking about a charitable organization for some of the servicemen and women that have lost their lives. You got a Freedom 4-miler coming up here this weekend. Before we do, we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air, helping our sellers sell faster for more money. We got a $13 million property listed in Orlando. This one's on Pebble Creek. This is a part of a North End development opportunity over in Orlando. Now, this is a co-listing with the Meraki Group. Pebble Creek, Four Corners, Florida, Orange and Osceola County. 100-acre development opportunity, prime development, about 10 to 15 minutes from Disney, downtown Orlando. Excellent location. Short-term rental community is what the highest and best use would be for this development land, and great opportunity. Pebble Creek Court, Four Corners, Florida. Great opportunity in Orlando there. Also, we got a mansion for sale here, 3704 Burger Road in Lutz. This is a large 10,000 square feet, 10 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, no HOA. We've got an indoor pool with a full bar and an oversized deck, full tennis court, library, movie theater, sauna, master suites, 2 master suites, and a grand balcony. 3704 Burger Road, Lutz, Florida. You can see all of our listings online at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
And yeah, I'm racing my class to those saving our ass overseas.
And let's give a quick shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Bilmar Beach Resort, Treasure Island, Florida. Longtime friends of the show. I love taking a short weekend break over there and a little staycation, going and staying in one of the best beach locations in all of Tampa Bay and Florida, for that matter. 90% of the rooms overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. Beautiful beaches, 2 bars on site, or 2 restaurants on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and also Waves Restaurant. BillmarBeachResort.com. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, Mark Haye, welcome back, sir.
How are you doing, sir? I was going to piggyback what you just said. I think we live in a great area for staycations.
That's right.
And so certainly enjoy it. And Treasure Island is a fun little quaint place to go to and hang out. So.
Yeah.
But we live in such a good area. Yeah. That every time you leave and go somewhere else, like, we should have just stayed home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you could literally drive an hour, and go to Cedar Key.
Cedar Keys. Most people don't know about that.
Wiki-Wachi,
Cedar Key is a cute little fishing town that no one really takes advantage of it or even talks about it. But what a great staycation that is. Mm-hmm. Going there and people haven't done it, you really should check it out. It's cute.
You go an hour south, you got Siesta Key. You got Bradenton Beaches, all the beautiful areas there.
Great hotels, great resorts. We got the Ritz-Carlton right in Sarasota.
Yeah.
Right there just outside of downtown. It's beautiful there. If you're looking to spend some money and go on a little staycation, that's a great spot to go to.
One of my first jobs out of school was the Ritz-Carlton. And
oh, really?
I was just telling a story over the weekend because me and my best friend, we would, we were both personal trainers, fitness manager, and we would get $50 a night. The employee rate was $50 a night back then. Wow. So we stayed at a lot of Ritz-Carltons across the globe and would use it for, we went to the Rose Bowl one year out in Pasadena, California, Puerto Rico, just different places, Miami, the beaches, South Beach and stuff. So
they do a great job with their business model and how they put the client and customer first and the service that they do. They have a great model, and you can see why they're so successful. If you ever call down there from a room and say, we'll be right there. Yeah. It's no argument. There's no, we'll take care of it. My pleasure. And I always think about that. And my business, your business, just be like the Ritz-Carlton, man.
Exactly.
Just go over and beyond what you ask and do. Just make it easy to be that customer.
Exactly.
But they do a great job
and build rapport. I mean, that's it.
Absolutely.
So Mark Haye, we talk a lot about this economy. Of course, people are hurting right now. We've talked about the credit card debt, fuel prices, cost of almost anything has gone up. What do we need to think about? What should we be considering? I mean, should people are talking about buying gold and silver? I mean, what are some of the? Let's talk about a comprehensive plan here.
Yeah, I mean, if we really want to dig deep, I think the biggest thing is no one talks about finances or teaches finances, And we've talked about before, when you look at the school, you're young, you have an older child and you have a very brand new child. If you look at the schooling system, they're not sitting down in a class and going, okay, so this is what a 401k is. Yeah. Here's the rules. Here's an IRA. No one's teaching the kids in school. Well, Then you go into the home. The grandparents don't talk about it. The parents don't talk about it. The kids don't talk. No one talks about finances, money, passing money, how to help educate. And so then we just kind of go through life, hopefully figuring it out or working with an advisor. So I think the really root of the problem is what you do is you got to educate people and talk to them. And my biggest big thing that I see between clients is if I have clients that don't involve their children or grandchildren in their planning, it's a lot different than a grandparent that involves their kids and grandkids in their planning.
Right.
Because it's very hard to pass money to the second generation and have that last to the third. Mm-hmm. It's almost impossible to get to that third generation because no one's talking about it, teaching it, etc. But I meet with my clients, and let's say use the grandparents. Let's say they're 70 years old, they have grown kids, and they have grandkids. When they bring in their kids and their grandkids, say, I want you to talk to them about what we're doing and why we're doing it and what's going to happen on our demise and what we want to see happen. And then the parents become my clients and the grandkids become my clients. But all that money passes and everything goes as planned. But if you don't involve an advisor in the next generations, they're going to inherit monies, and more likely they're just going to blow through it. Yeah. Because they never were taught how to do it. You know what I mean? Or what I should be doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's actually studies on that too, where you'll have a wealthy family, and then the kid, of course, didn't have to work for it. Everything was given to him. The saying is, born on third base, but thought he hit a triple.
Right, exactly.
Right. So you have those types of families and those types of kids, and then you got the complete opposite. Someone like me, I grew up in South Florida, and we had lived in a mobile home at one time when I was a younger kid. So we kind of, when you come up like that, you're biting, scratching, clawing, bartering, doing everything you can, right?
Exactly.
And it means more to you. That Absolutely. That $100 means more to you than it does to the Prince Henry or Harry type kid.
Right. And so you can look at different families in history. Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts are always talked about, when it comes to planning and who did what right. And people don't realize the Vanderbilts, how wealthy they were in the mid-1800s. I mean, they had more money than the U.S. Treasury. They were the wealthiest people. I think you could take like Zuckerberg and Buffett and combine it, and that was their fortune at that time.
Like per capita.
Yeah. So they were massive, and so were the Rockefellers, and people still know the Rockefellers. But the thing about it today is the Rockefellers still have their money. The Vanderbilts are broke. So
wow.
when Cornelius passed, and I know we're getting way off subject now, but when Cornelius passed,
this is interesting though.
He passed his fortune to his son.
Right.
9 years later, his son doubled the fortune and died.
Wow.
Okay. 54 years after Cornelius died, the family was bankrupt. They had 10 mansions in New York City that all got knocked down in the 30s because there was no more money.
Wow.
And the last person that is alive with that family has $1.4 million for the entire estate. And they had billions of dollars.
Wow.
Then you take someone like the Rockefellers, who today are still worth more than what they were in the 1800s when he got into oil and everything else. Because what the Rockefellers did was they had a team, a plan, and they had the trust and the estate plan done, and they had advisors that worked generational, and set it up. And the one big thing that the Rockefellers did that the Vanderbilts did not do is every single member in that family has to have permanent life insurance. And the reason they did that was to put cash somewhere in cash value. But when you pass, that's going to replenish the trust and all the money you spent, and it's going to go back to what it was. And so the plan has worked perfectly through the generations.
Wow.
Here we are today, and I think they just donated like another $500 million to whatever this year, out of their estate.
Wow.
Where the Vanderbilts, unfortunately, don't have a dollar to donate anymore to charities.
Wow.
Because the odds of passing down the generations is very, very difficult. But the reason I tell you that is if you have an advisor and work with myself or any advisor, I would encourage people to make sure that you get the kids at some point involved in these conversations. A lot of times I'll have parents, when the kids are young, they'll set up a plan, whether it's a life insurance retirement plan or a Roth IRA or something like that, and the kid graduates college, he's 22, he's like, hey, I want you to sit down with my son or my daughter. I want you to explain what we did. I want them to take this over. I want them to start investing, saving $50 a month, whatever.
Yeah.
You have no idea how far that goes, as far as setting a foundation, putting a good habit in place, because now when they put the $50 a month in, they already have this bucket of money and they're watching it grow. And now they want to put more into it and more into it. Then they go out into a job, get a 401k, and they invest in that. And so it's just such a huge head start. But when you involve people, your family members, with an advisor, with an estate plan, it is drastically different than if you don't talk about it, don't involve them. Right. And I tell people, too, if a husband and wife, one spouse doesn't meet with me, it's a big problem.
Right.
Because if only the husband's meeting with me and the wife says, oh, no, he handles that, I'm going to go over here. Or the wife meets with me and the husband, I'm too busy, she'll handle it. There's such a big disconnect, especially if something happens, like a disability or a lost job or a death, and you don't have any idea what kind of planning we're doing or why. I encourage you to sit in those meetings because it's a lot of money that could be lost if you're not there aware of what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. We're talking with Mark Haye, financial advising expert here in our Consumer Quarterback Show, kind of a panel of experts like we have, of course, 80 different categories with all the best attorneys, CPAs, financial advice, lots of ways we can help you. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And yeah, it's Mark, those are a lot of good ideas. Seems like you maybe should put those into a book.
Yeah. So next month coming out, and I just named it literally 0%. So I kind of named it 0% to not really give it a name, but give it something so it's like, why would an advisor be taunting 0%?
Yeah, that's cool.
But the 0%, all it represents is when you get to retirement, I want you to pay 0% in taxes. And it's just a roadmap to get there. And we talk about a lot on the radio how to get there, but when you do a qualified plan and people what's a qualified plan? A qualified plan just means the government's plan. It's an IRA or 401k, that's going to have rules for investing and limits and when you can spend it. It just, the government is overseeing that. So that's why it's qualified plan. A lot of people put monies in qualified plans and hope for the best and everything else, but we want to make sure that your qualified plan only satisfies your standard deduction, making that $27,700 a year as of right now tax-free, and systematically shift that money into tax-free vehicles, whether it's a Roth IRA, Roth 401k, a life insurance retirement plan. But we can do that sooner than later. You don't have to be 59 and a half to avoid that penalty. We work with a lot of people our age, and we do what's called a 72T, and systematically every year move money from a qualified plan to a non-qualified plan, pay the taxes while they're working to get that money so that when you do retire, you have 5-6 streams of income all coming to you tax-free and not having to worry about being in a partnership with someone that's $31 trillion in debt and counting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you think they're not going to take more from you later, I don't know what world you're living in, but there is no other way. You're going to have to raise the taxes and start cutting, and the government's never going to cut.
I like that idea you had last week, too, about putting the kids to work. So I've already got a list of chores for Brady to do. I mean, he's only 16 months old now, but, we're going to start.
But he'd be a heck of a model. For your Instagram. I know you're throwing, I think you're throwing a party for 4th of July. Put him up there. 4th of July party. That he did a model.
Pay your kids. That's a write-off. That's a great idea, Mark. We'll talk more about that. When we come back, too, I want to ask you about this digital currency. There's a big push amongst central banks for digital currencies. Also, BRICS is another threat to the United States dollar, the U.S. dollar as a world currency, who, Donald J. Trump says that would be the biggest defeat in the history of the United States, is to lose that world's reserve currency, as the dollar is in jeopardy in this Biden economy. Coming up, more with Mark Haye, Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
For real estate and financial advice, call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here in studio with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. Coming up, we're going to talk about this digital currency push by the large central banks and also BRICS as well. Before we do, hot listing here, 2817 Gulf City Road in Ruskin. We've got a 23-acre parcel of land directly on the Little Manatee River. This is a property that should be perfect for development. Townhomes, condos, single-family homes would be a great opportunity. 2817 Gulf City Road in Ruskin. That's South Hillsborough County. One of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. Palm Harbor property here at 14 Baywood Drive. 14 Baywood Drive is a large home. You got almost 3,000 square feet, completely remodeled, renovated, updated home here. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. And what I love about this community is you've got a boat ramp. You can back the boat down the boat ramp there, be out in the Gulf of Mexico in a matter of minutes, and go out there and go fishing, catch some nice grouper, some snook, some redfish, mangrove snappers. Great opportunity right there in Palm Harbor, Pinellas County, 14 Baywood Drive. And you can see all of our listings. We got about 60 current listings on our website. Check out all of our listings, residential, vacant land, and commercial properties. Platinum Coastal Elite.com. Check out the website, platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group here in studio with me. And Mark, we talk a lot about the currencies, and when you look at this push for digital currency, it's real. You're hearing more about it, different podcasts, different places, and it's a scary thought because it's about control.
Yeah, it's about exactly. That's what I was going to say. I'm not a big fan of digital currency. I'm more fan of cash.
Yeah.
But if you're a government, I can understand why they want to get rid of cash and go all digital, because now, if you think about it, you can control individuals, businesses, city, towns, states. It doesn't matter. You can control it. So if you and I have a disagreement with a political view of somebody that's in power and they want to just shut down our ability to buy or purchase through a digital currency, what would you do?
Yeah.
If cash is no longer accepted and it's all digital, they could shut it down. Or let's shut down Tampa Bay and you can't use any monetary funds. You can't buy gasoline. You can't go to the store until you do what we want you to do, and then we'll turn it back on.
Yeah, just like a
maybe
system.
Maybe we're conspiracy theorists. I don't know, but to me that just seems to me like that would be something that is about control.
Yeah,
and getting rid of that cash. So then there's really no. What are you going to do?
Well, it is. You look at the online. The kid gets sick, and then you go online and you have the GoFundMe's and the different things, right? You've seen that used. The drunk driver hits the spouse dies, and they're raising money, right? Look what they did last year to the truckers. They had this trucker fund, and Justin Trudeau in Canada overstepped what he should have been able to do. Of course, their constitution is way different than ours. But yeah, they did exactly that for these truckers that were standing up against these vaccine mandates, making people take a shot. Let's just leave it at that a lot of people didn't think was an appropriate shot, and they called it a vaccine. And some people said, hey, it's not actually a vaccine. So anyways, yeah, to that point. Now we also have a more. I think that's in the distant. I think that's there because it's also in the back of the Bible, a book called Revelation. But you also talk about BRICS, Brazil. What is it? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Saudi Arabia, is it, or South Africa?
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So what it is you have this currency, and I'm hearing more and more about that being implemented in about 60 days.
Yeah, and they want to take down the U.S. dollar as number one currency and replace it.
Yeah.
Which, if I was them at this state with our economy and our leadership, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
If you look at them like, okay, I mean, I don't like it, but I get it. Yeah. If you're going to make that move, now's the time to strike. Because in my mind, we're weak right now. Yeah. I think we're weak as far as policies. I think we're weak as far as leadership. And I think that if you're going to strike, you have to do it now. Because next year with the election, who knows what happens and who gets in.
Yep.
So when you say 60 days, yeah, they're running out of time. They're going to do it. They got to do it.
Yeah. We're giving them every reason to do it.
Correct.
Is basically what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, but you can't blame them.
Yeah.
They want to try to be the number one currency and move forward with that. And what are we going to do as America?
Yeah.
What would we do as a leadership? How do we combat that? And I don't see an answer from anybody in our leadership to say, here's how we're going to do it. We're not going to allow this to happen because of whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't get handled, doesn't get talked about, and it's a shame.
Well, look how we got here. I mean, that's one of the major points is how did we get here? That, and it's been this constant unit party, both sides, outsourcing their jobs, placating to China and other countries. So that's how we've gotten here. So we're talking with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Talk to us a little bit about some strategy, maybe a success story. What are people doing in your mind, or folks that you're working with? What are they doing that's working right now?
Well, I will say the biggest way to get an advantage, like a cheat code advantage, and be wealthy is you got to be a business owner.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, even if you're a W-2, start an LLC.
Yep.
I don't care if you have a lemonade stand for the kids or you're going to do consulting or what. Just start an LLC.
Yep.
So now that everything you're doing is now deduction. So instead of it being an expense, you're doing it as a deduction. I'm gonna go out to dinner, and as long as you talk about your business, I'm talking about doing things legally, not illegally. But I'm gonna go out to dinner with my wife, and we're actually gonna talk about the business. And guess what happens? That meal now becomes a write-off instead of an expense.
Yep.
And then you're going to use your house as a home office. Okay, so a third of the expenses get written off. But you can save and save and save, and compounding interest takes over. And 30 years from now, we're going to have this bucket of money. But if you really want to be wealthy, you got to have your own business.
Yeah.
And I tell you all the time, just create it. For $150, $200, create an LLC and just do something with it.
Yeah. Start small.
Start small. You can, I'm not telling anybody to quit their job just now, but just do it. And then you're going to take advantage of so many opportunities, just like we talked about paying your kids.
Yep.
I'm rounding up to $13,000, but if you can give your kid $13,000 and that comes off your income and they get that tax-free without filing, and you're going to take that money and still be the owner and put it into something, and it's your we're talking serious money just on $13,000 a year every single year for the next 15, 20 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we talked about the Augusta rule, how you can rent your own home out to your business 14 days out of the year. Pick the days that are going to be really high.
Wow.
You can't say I charge $1,000 a day when the hotel's going rates $100. But 4th of July weekend, guess what happens to all the rates in hotels and banquet rooms? They're expensive. If you went to Don's Bazaar today and said, okay, I want to stay there for the 4th of July weekend, you're paying $750, $1,000 a night. It's the same thing you could charge at your house. Where I'm having a party for my clients and friends, and I'm going to rent this house out, and I'm going to have catering and food, and I'm going to charge $10,000 that week for rent.
Yeah, I like it.
It's not illegal. You can do that 14 days.
Wow.
Out of the year.
Idea.
And the IndyCar races come racing down in St. Pete. Guess what I'm doing? I'm going to rent my house out, and I'm going to have a client. Again, just little things like that is a huge wealth creator.
Yeah.
That you can do to really get a fast forward start.
Gasparilla, Super Bowls, absolutely. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. Find him online at consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors. Mark, thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Good stuff coming up. Fred Mute, Tampa Screens and Aluminum on the Consumer Quarterback Show, our contractor expert contributor. Talk about permitting, labor force, supply chain, more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.